friend, you're tuned in to the KJ Lifestyle where we talk about stories, struggles, and the space in between. I'm your host, KJ, and I welcome you to episode 5 of our little podcast where we will talk about a project that has become a transformative journey for me. Today, I want to take you behind the scenes of something I never really thought I'd be able to say. I wrote a devotional. And just so I know it's real, let me just say that again. I wrote a devotional. I am now an author of a book called 30 Days of Self Love. And if I'm being honest, it still feels surreal to say that out loud. If you've been following the podcast since day one, you already know that I started the KJ Lifestyle podcast as a way to document this very messy, multi passionate season of my life. And I'm juggling a lot of things being a teacher, content creator, event host, active church worker, and now an author. And I realized if I'm going to keep navigating this wild mix of responsibilities, I have to make time to walk you through some of the details, the steps, the grind, and that's what this episode is for. So, why did I create 30 Days of Self Love? Let me take you back to the very beginning. If you know me personally or you've followed me in some of my social media accounts, you'd know that I am a big advocate of journaling. It's how I process things. It's my form of therapy, prayer, and pause all rolled into one. Especially when life gets overwhelming, journaling helps me hear myself again. I write things down to understand what I'm feeling, to track what God's doing in my life, and sometimes just to breathe. Sometime early this year, in February, I hit a particularly hard stretch. Our family went through one of the roughest patches of our lives when my dad went through an unexpected major surgery and life threatening complications. During that time, I found myself at the end of my own understanding. I had plans, timelines, expectations, and then suddenly, all of that did not matter. I had to surrender what I thought life would look like, and instead, I found myself having a real talk with God and asking, "What now?" During that time, journaling wasn't just helpful, it became necessary. And every night I found comfort in writing things down, and maybe you can apply this in your own journaling routine too. First, I write 3 things I'm grateful for, even if it's something small, like finally eating something you've been craving for weeks, or being smiled at by a kind stranger, or even something big like getting the promotion you've been praying for, or securing money you need for a project or a bill that you need to get paid. Secondly, I write 3 things I learned that day. Even if it's just a striking quote I read from a book or even came across from scrolling through TikTok. No matter how big or small, all knowledge is welcome. And lastly, I wrote 3 things I'm looking forward to, like a date with friends this coming weekend, the release of an episode of a series or a podcast I'm following, or even the salary coming into the account. Then eventually the routine grew. I added in some affirmation, something I needed to hear even if I didn't fully believe it yet. And then I'd pair that with a Bible verse, write down my personal reflections, and then end it with a prayer. And you know what? That rhythm grounded me. That structure, it gave me peace. It was like sitting down with God and letting Him hold all the tangled parts of my day. Eventually, I thought, what if someone else needs this too? And that's when 30 Days of Self Love started to take form. It wasn't a grand plan. I didn't even think of it as a book at first. Just pages in my journal that I thought could help someone else the way they were helping me. Slowly, I started organizing it, editing it, laying it out, and praying over each day's content. I also did the work. I registered myself with the National Book Development Board. I took care of the layout, wrote and rewrote sections, did major revisions at least 3 times. I even asked my mom and dad, both pastors, to give their insight. And when I finally felt at peace in my heart about how everything looked, I went ahead and got the ISBNs for both the ebook and printed copies. To be honest, I didn't think of this as a profitable endeavor or as a way to make money. But of course, if I want to make more devotionals in the future, and yes, I have more coming, I need resources. So I put the book up for sale, both digital and printed. And by God's grace, there are a few people who already bought it. Hopefully, they're reading it and, more importantly, being helped by it. That to me is the real win. 30 Days of Self Love is a passion project I had with God. It actually felt like it was a love letter from His heart to mine, and now hopefully to yours. And truthfully, it became more than just a devotional project. It became a personal healing journey. One where I had to unlearn a lot of lies I had picked up over time. Lies like I have to earn love, I'm only valuable when I'm productive, I shouldn't rest until everything's done. And if you believed some of those statements yourselves too, then we are probably on the same boat. But through scripture, through prayer, and through a lot of wrestling with myself, I started to believe something better. That I am already loved, not because of what I do, but because of who God is. That my value isn't measured by my output, but by the fact that I am God's. And that rest isn't a reward, but a part of our design as human beings. And that kind of self love is a love that comes from knowing God's love is enough and that He loves us as we are, not as what we should be. And here's the thing, my friend, this journey of self love isn't just for me, it's for you too. And if you're anything like me, a millennial trying to make sense of this whole adulting thing, juggling too many passions and responsibilities at once, or maybe navigating a season of transition where the ground beneath you feels shaky, then I believe that 30 Days of Self Love can help. It's not just pages to read, it's a routine, a rhythm you can possibly lean on. A space where you can pause, reflect, and remind yourself that even in the chaos, you are loved. It can give you a means or a guide to slow down, to breathe, to hear God's voice above the noise of expectations, whether from work, from family, or even from yourself. And maybe you're listening right now and you're tired of holding everything together, or maybe you've been questioning your worth because of a failure, a delay, or a detour in your plans, can I just tell you, this devotional was written with you in mind too. It's for the struggler, the dreamer, the one trying to do it all, and the one just trying to make it through the day. It can help you ground yourself, make sense of your scattered thoughts, and ground you despite your overwhelming emotions. So, if you decide to take on the 30 days of self love journey, my prayer is that it becomes more than just a book on your desk, but a companion in your healing, your growing, and your becoming. Right now, I'm working on another one called Peace in the Pause, which is about trusting God in a season of waiting. I actually have a few more titles lined up after that, each one inspired by personal struggles I'm still walking through, but also overcoming by God's grace. And if you're listening to this and you've got a project in your heart, something you've been thinking about for a while, maybe even something you keep pushing back because you don't feel like you're ready, I hope that this story encourages you to take the first step as well. Because if the desire has been planted in your heart and it just doesn't seem to let you go, maybe, just maybe, God's nudging you toward a purpose you haven't fully seen yet. Maybe He's not just giving you ideas, maybe He's giving you an assignment. And your gifts, your writing, speaking, crafting, creating, whatever talents or skills you have, I believe that those are God given tools for the mission He has placed you on the earth for. So take time to get to know yourself, your wiring, your burden, your passions, your story. Because the more you understand you, the more you'll understand what God might be asking you to do. And if anyone asks me right now what my greatest milestone is at 32 years old, it's this 30 days of self love. Because it's not just a book, it's a reminder that healing is possible, that rest is available, and that joy, real pure joy, is still ours for the taking. I sincerely hope that some of you would get the chance to experience a journey like this too, even if it's not through 30 days of self love, but through a personal journey you will take with God. And it all starts with one step, one page, or even one prayer. And so, friend, as I close this episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Maybe this is your sign to start your journey too. Not because I wrote a book about it, but because God is inviting you to rediscover His love for you. The kind of love that never fails, never leaves, and never runs out. And if you do feel led, 30 Days of Self-Love is there waiting for you. Think of it as a space, a guide, or even just a quiet friend reminding you that you are enough because God is enough. If you are one of those who have read 30 Days of Self-Love, I'd love to hear how it helped you so far. And if you haven't yet, you can find 30 Days of Self-Love through the KJ Lifestyle on social media, or you can shoot me a message. Let's talk, let's heal, and let's grow together. Thank you for letting me share my 30 Days of Self-Love story. Again, this is KJ reminding you that wherever you are in your story, whatever season you're walking through right now, you are deeply loved. Until next time.